Careful. Oh. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 testing.
rivals high school shit,
Yeah.
you always seen like Adrian
Yeah,
Peterson, Marshawn Lynch. And I used to say to myself, like, man, who the is this always? You feel me though?
He was crazy.
So,
school,
so you feel me? Then when we have our
Shout out to AP.
we have our debut. You feel me?
All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe. Well, good evening. This is DFG and the place to be. Hopefully you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm here every Tuesday night between 8:30 and 9:30. We go a little longer sometimes, but for the most part, that's what we do. Usually with me, it's my lovely sister from the same mister, the Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl. Also, the lady of Sweetest Apple. She's just coming on. Miss Apple, so pretty from New York City. And also we have the thin one, Miss Bean Girl, or Beanie as we like to call her. She's out there in lovely Binghamton, New York, in the frozen winter chosen. And today we usually have our usual guests, but I guess they're not here. We also have Big Al on here. What's going on, Big Al? How you doing?
I'm doing good, my brother. Glad to be among the living.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. We got Miss Nikki in the Yahoo group. You know, we're live on Yahoo, Facebook, also Instagram. Sometimes I go live on TikTok. And holla at your boy, Miss Apple. What's going on with you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm still up here in the being with Beanie.
Okay. Oh,
Doing
okay.
our sister thing, our sister bonding thing.
I hear you. That's what it's all about. Family. Because if you ain't got family, you ain't got, you know what I mean. And I'm not trying not to get demonetized. So I'm going to keep going. Before we get into the topic, I put together a little presentation on what's going on in the world of TikTok. As y'all know, TikTok started way back in 2017, an app that came from China and it's blown up worldwide. And what we're talking about today is, you know, it's supposed to be banned the day before the president elect takes office. Right now, Congress is putting a bill to stay the execution for another 270 days. We'll see how that works and how we're gonna and what's gonna happen with that. I don't have any, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but it's something that's going on. What's going on, Miss Kim? How are you doing? You're faithful to the show and I appreciate you. And I'm going to go and start this presentation. Fair use.
We have a big TikTok ban update. Tomorrow is an important day. The United States Supreme Court will be releasing opinions at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, we don't know whether the TikTok ban opinion is going to be the one that's released or whether it'll be one of many, but what we do know is that it's
Can y'all hear that?
opinion day announced this week, which means that if the TikTok ban opinion will be released this week, it's likely coming tomorrow. Before I continue, if TikTok is banned, I'll be on multiple platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, Substack, and Blue Sky. All are linked in my bio, so follow me there. There are a number of avenues the
TikTok, founded in 2017, is a China-based app that has blown up since the beginning in the US. Now, what they're talking about is January 19th, 2025. If it hasn't been sold to an American or an American company, it's going to be gone. The last couple of days, the Supreme Court kind of punted it down the road. So it leaving us is probably highly unlikely, but you never know.
Supreme Court can take tomorrow, including overturning the law, essentially saying it's unconstitutional keeping TikTok around, upholding the law, saying that the law is constitutional.
No. So now we gotta get to the bottom of what the happened. And Jazz deep in because I gotta put my party on. Okay, we got a little technical difficulties here.
Let me try this again. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to cut this short. I guess it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So let me do this and give me a second and I'll start it over. Forgive me, sometimes you got to be smarter than the equipment. This is one of those times I may not be. But we will make it work. Let me look here. Okay. Give me a second. Uh, ooh. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. As for me, I'm not. As you can see, I'm on a struggle bus today. Um, we got Miss Beanie on. I see she's coming on. Welcome to the show, Miss Beanie. How you doing? I know you and Apple are together.
No, I just got off of work. I'm going home now in the snow. That came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, when doesn't? I mean, you only get 2 weeks of good weather up there.
Yeah. No, it's actually a month, but that's that's neither here nor there. Yeah, actually 4 weeks, and it separates throughout the year. You know.
Oh yeah, a day here, a day there. It's always cloudy. I call it London.
Yeah. Well, they call it the Twilight Zone, so I don't know.
So I'm going to run this again, and hopefully it'll work this time. I don't know if anybody can hear anything because I sure can't.
Will be releasing opinions at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I can
Now,
hear
we don't
it
know
now.
whether the TikTok ban opinion is going to be the one that's released or whether it'll be one of many, but what we do know is that it's the only opinion day announced this week, which means that if the TikTok ban opinion will be released this week, it's likely coming tomorrow. Before I continue, if TikTok is banned, I'll be on multiple platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, Substack, and Blue Sky. All are linked in my bio.
TikTok, founded in 2017, is a China-based app that has blown up since the beginning in the US. Now, what they're talking about is January 19th, 2025. If it hasn't been sold to an American or an American company, it's going to be gone. The last couple of days, the Supreme Court kind of punted it down the road, so it leaving us is probably highly unlikely, but you never know.
Supreme Court can take tomorrow, including overturning the law, essentially saying it's unconstitutional keeping TikTok around, upholding the law, saying that the law is constitutional and banning TikTok. It could issue an administrative stay or a temporary injunction, kicking the can down the road as well. It could also not issue an opinion tomorrow. We don't know 100%. And then the ball is in the court of President Biden and Donald Trump to sign a 90-day extension. Lots to cover. Tomorrow's going to be a very busy day, and I'll provide you updates every step of the way. Be sure to follow along to be the first to know.
So everyone is absolutely dying to know the
Fair
status
use.
of the TikTok ban. And everyone has been preparing and saying their goodbyes and letting people know where to follow them on other platforms. Mine are in my bio here. And I just wanted to give you all a dose of optimism. For those of you who did not listen to the arguments in front of the Supreme Court last week, I took the time to listen to most of it and listen to people who are more educated than I am, who also listen to all of
In my opinion, this is a thing about they don't want people to get any information outside of approved sources. What I mean by approved, corporations and high-moneyed individuals do not like the poors to receive information that counters how great they are, and possibly doing things like revolt or speak up. This is one of those moves that they're doing to calm down on what's supposed to be free expression.
it and have said the following, that 2 out of 3 possibilities will benefit us. 1, the ban is struck down entirely. 2, that we have a stay until the next administration. Or 3, that the ban is upheld, and that would not be good for any of us. But the more and more I hear things, it looks like we are not going to lose this app in a few.
Thanks for watching. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Sure, y'all got enough of my handsome mug, so now it's time to talk. Big Al, holla at your boy. Do you have a TikTok?
No. From my perspective, and realizing my background in cyber intel, I think we have way too many foreign entities that have control of things that are going on in the United States. TikTok is one. My problem is with the Chinese government having an application that they can insert logarithms and other things that could manipulate people's thinkings and minds and change perceptions. By the same token, if you do the research, you'll find that most of the companies that do cloud storage, they are connected to the Chinese and the Russians. So all that data that we're storing in the cloud potentially has back doors to foreign entities. So I'm more concerned about that than I am the border and illegals, because I just think from an information perspective, too many foreign and outside entities have access. And then we got Elon Musk, who's involved with all types of negotiations with the Russians, Putin, and China, that disturbs me as well. So that's a lot that I'm kind of throwing out there just to generate some discussion.
Oh no, well, we both worked together back in lovely Fort Gordon, now Fort Eisenhower, and I know you were the deputy program manager, or the deputy program manager, or as we like to say, the Army capability manager for cyber. So you're well aware of how things are, and you have probably inside knowledge that you can't divulge on this platform. However, you understand what's going on and how things are. I'm looking at understanding that the World Wide Web, or as like we called it in the military, the gig, the Global Information Grid. Understanding that there's no such thing as secure information. We
Yeah.
gotta tell people that from the beginning, and it's not really nefarious, because to get on most apps, we put information about ourselves on our thing. So it's a matter of who has access to that, direct access to that information, and what are they doing with that information. Now, we look at other outside nation state actors and we say, well, they're bad, but are they as bad as, like you said, people putting in algorithms so that they're steering you to certain products steering, with the devices that we have, with like Alexa, Siri, all those other devices, that when we when they hear us talk, the algorithm's kicking in, and then you get a notification or something you might have said in a stray comment that comes up on your feed throughout social media. What they're doing is, a lot of these companies are consolidating their issues, and they're coming together to kind of stifle the flow of information, of free information, or suppress that information from not reaching the intended targets. And I think this is kind of what this is about. And it's not about whether China or Russia has our information. We know they have it. That's
Right.
that that's that's what's going on. It's just how we protect ourselves. We know people get robbed, but we have to protect our own house first before we go outside. Miss Kim, I know you're an avid TikTok user. What do you think about the upcoming ban?
Well, I mainly use it just for entertainment when I'm not doing anything else. Um, I don't have a problem with it being banned. I mean, it is what it is. Um, it's not like I'm hooked on it, but if it's banned, it's banned.
Okay, okay. So with that being said, Apple, I know that you're also on there. What are your feelings about it?
Well, I had it for a while, but I just started really being active the past year that I actually went on it, and I actually like the app. But if it gets banned, I don't think I'm gonna download any new ones.
I got you. I got you.
I
Well,
hope it doesn't, because you do find out a lot of information that you wouldn't necessarily know if you didn't go on. You see different viewpoints. Like as you know, I love to cook. It's a lot of pages on there that caters to that, and I'm finding myself really enjoying that. My FYP page caters to that. I love animals, also that, and I'm gonna miss it, but it's not going to be the end all be all.
so are you twerking like Cooking with Kaya? Cooking with Apple, cooking with Apple.
No, not with this brand new back. I can't.
More like a tweak, not a twerk, right?
Right. A head bob. That's about it. I can head bob.
With with the with the ban coming up, Ms. Dreen, I know you're an advocate for free speech. Do you think this is going to hurt? Is it going to hurt hurt free speech or free expression, or is the national security issue valid?
I definitely think it's going to hurt free speech. And I think one of the reasons that they're even considering banning it is because they want to be able to control what it's saying. And since we have billionaires that buying the Washington Post and all the mainstream media has sold out, I think they realize they can't control TikTok because of the fact that it's not owned by an American. And they're using that as an excuse to kind of stifle it, or to figure out if they can get it under somebody they can control. So I think it's a much bigger issue. And I don't necessarily really agree or believe it's truly a national security issue in the sense that they try to play it. But I think it's a issue of them not having the control.
No, that makes sense. I agree. Do you agree, Big Al?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think your question was spot on, because as you went through with Miss Apple and Kimberly, you asked them what do they use it for, and I think that is the most important thing. If we're using it for information sharing and for knowledge, then I agree that it is of value. I was just thinking with my national security hat on, and you're absolutely right. The Chinese and the Russians already know everything about us. That's why guys like you and I couldn't travel to certain countries. I always wanted to go to Cuba, but I couldn't go to Cuba. I couldn't go to China. I have family members who've gone to China, but I couldn't go. So just thinking national security, I was looking at it from a negative perspective, but I think there is value added. And with all the streaming platforms and all the information sharing opportunities that we have in this era, I can see the value added in maintaining TikTok. So I'm changing my position based upon the comments and because of your question.
Oh, well, hey, can't never say that well-informed debate doesn't change minds. Chocolate Pearl, I know you're not a user. You're on IG. You're on a few other platforms. What do you think about the TikTok ban?
Well, hello, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late.
You on CP?
Well, on Tuesdays it's real hard. My sewing class started up today, so I try to get out of there on time. However, when you get back to TikTok, like you said, I am not a user, and I don't know if I care or not. Maybe I do, because even though I'm not a user, because whoever, and I don't know how it comes onto Facebook as well as Instagram, I'm able to look at TikTok on those apps. And I like Apple said, I get my cooking, I get plenty of recipes from the TikTok world. Now, will it affect our free speech? Everything affects our free speech. It's getting to the point where we don't have free speech anymore. I think I said it before that with today's society, you have the I forget what generation we're in now, but we have these young folks who are afraid of nothing but are insulted, or they feel bad about anything that you say, but they're not afraid of stuff. So when it comes down to social media, they're allowed to voice their opinions, their feelings, but then they get upset that someone retaliates or somebody says something negative to them, and so they are, always insulted by everything. So I don't know if TikTok is a function that it matters if it disappears or not. But if you do TikTok, even though Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all those other things are United States programs, soon as TikTok leaves, there's going to be another one come right back up. Will I join? No, I got enough apps on my phone. I'm getting to that age. I'm over 50. I don't need all those apps. I just need something simple. I can keep in touch with the friends, maybe look at some news, even though that's not true news, but, look at some, different things that's going on in the world. And it just gives me another avenue to look. I can still go back to, they actually still make papers, the actual physical paper. They actually make magazines, the physical magazines, and you got your regular television. So TikTok will not kill me if it's gone, but that's an avenue for the younger generation that really likes doing that. And also for the people who have, who are influencers. When it comes down to that, it's influencers, and they make their money that way. So when you take away TikTok, you're taking away a lot of people's incomes, period, because there are a lot of people who didn't have a dime, but because they had a phone and they had that TikTok app, they were able to continuously give content for free and get paid for it. And they were able to support their families. And actually, a lot of them, one guy I follow, even though he's on TikTok, it comes on Facebook, I follow him, and he feeds the homeless. So the money that he makes off of these social medias, he returns it to the to society and give it to the homeless. So it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing if they remove it. But if they're removing it because they want to control, then yeah, take it away, because we don't want y'all controlling us. Because once you take everything that social media away control, you can't control nobody then, because they won't know what to do and how to do it or find out what's going on. Because they don't look at the news. They don't look
Yeah,
at the
well, that's kind of where we were going with that, is that yes, you have very valid points, because I wasn't on TikTok until about 2.5 years ago, but now I do make a little money off of it. Um, the idea is that too many of these organizations are consolidating, and when they consolidate, you get less, the information streams become more constricted, and then you stop knowing what's truth and what's being fed to us. That's the biggest issue for outlets like TikTok. Now TikTok, like Big Al was saying, there's so much stuff on the internet that people in Russia and China know our stuff, know everything that we're about. People in the United States, there are agencies here that know everything that we do, and keep a record of it. However, I will say losing TikTok would be a big blow to freedom of speech, in the fact that if you go on, especially since Mr. Zuckerberg took down fact checking on his app, and that I'm assuming that includes Instagram. So we're looking at things from a perspective of, you know, X is compromised.
right. Okay,
Facebook is compromised.
even though I came in, and I apologize for coming in late on it, and I came in on Big Al's conversation, so I didn't get all of it, and it was very interesting what I did hear. I have a concern when it comes to him, Zuckerberg, uh, removing the fact checking option on the app. And which apps are these?
It's Facebook and Instagram.
See, but you still have Google.
Yes, but Google is owned by Alphabet, which in turn donates a lot to, let's just say, their
They
business, their
they paid,
business.
yeah, they paid. Okay, I get that. But there are other ways that you can check facts. You have that is, even though it's still social media, it's not a particular app. You can go on the news website. It kills me, and I've spoken to you about it, that people tend to post things that are not true,
Not
like
even
killing
close.
off people. It kills me that people love to post that somebody done died and they didn't. So whenever I see that, I go, unfortunately, you just told me something different, but I go on Google. But you can also go on different other news sites that you can check to
Yes,
see if
yes,
it actually, is true or not. So you don't have to stop at Facebook. You don't have to stop at Instagram or TikTok. There's other avenues, but that's the problem with today's society. They don't know to go. They do know, but they choose not to. I'm not gonna say that. I shouldn't say they don't know. I believe they do know. They just choose not to because they're so used to being on, you know, Facebook and TikTok, especially TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat. So we need to, if say that we get rid of not just TikTok, say we get rid of Facebook, say we get rid of Instagram, all those apps, where you gonna go then?
people will make up apps. That's basically what it is. That
Yeah.
what's been happening, because you remember, I'm dating all of us. Around 1999, the majority of the United States was on AOL. And you had
Yes.
MSN chat rooms, you had Yahoo chat rooms, you had a couple of other apps. Then
MySpace. I really, I really
MySpace and
hated
Black
myself.
Planet. MySpace and Black Planet came out around 2000,
Right.
and people flocked to those. So social media at the beginning was haphazard and catching. What Facebook did was, if an app started getting bigger, what Facebook would do would buy the app.
Mm.
they bought they don't have Telegram, but they have WhatsApp. They
Right.
bought WhatsApp. Remember Vine?
Yes.
Remember all of those were being bought out. Those capabilities were being bought out by more. Everything is cannibalizing, and the more fewer people that own things, the less information that's going to come out. So, like you said, yes, you can go to Google. What I recommend to people, if you want to get an outside view of what's going on in the United States, go to a site like Al Jazeera. Go to BBC. Go to they have a program, English speaking German program called Deutsch World. That's what German news. They report on the United States from an outside perspective. So they're not controlled necessarily by those interests in the United States. So you'll get a more objective view of those programs. Now, don't watch Pravda, or I think it's RT. That's Russian propaganda. I, it is it if you want lies, if you want, like, you go on a Truth Social, go to RT and get that out the way. But for most of them are in moderate in the middle, and they report it. And some of them, especially when it comes to the U.S., a lot of them may have a somewhat negative slant on the U.S., but it's more accurate than what we're getting here.
Okay.
Than what we're getting here. But overall, our freedom of expression is being chopped down overall, because if if y'all remember from 2021, the biggest issue on January 6th, that wasn't freedom of expression, that was assault.
Yeah.
Um, you look at it as such, and then people want to talk about they're taking our freedoms, but that's not how they're taking our freedoms. They're eroding them. They're not whole out stripping them, because they're gonna push until we say no. And the way things are going, I mean, education wise, they're not being educated, they're being trained and indoctrinated to work some low level job, while um, the elite send their kids to private schools, have private tutors, and they get private education that they can afford, where the rest of us are just gonna, if we're not teaching our kids ain't gonna learn. That's just,
So tell me,
go ahead, Miss Dream.
I think it was she. I don't know if she came on or not, but I wanted to ask. But can anyone tell me what is the reasoning of why Zuckerberg removed fact checking on his apps? Because he doesn't want us to know the truth,
Well, it
or wanted
doesn't.
to tell us anything and we're supposed to believe it?
No, misinformation sells. Misinformation sells. If you
I also
if
think he's trying to impress Donald Trump. Come on now.
that too, but that's what I'm saying. Misinformation sells, and
He
I
saw
have
the
a question. Does this all, can I just, I was during the election, I was, looking and seeing what was it, because I really didn't pay attention this year a lot. So it was with that bill they was trying to pass, something 25. What was it?
no, Project 2025 is a comprehensive, fundamentally change how it's going to change the way the government's run, to make it more of a right wing ethno state. That's, I don't want to get.
That's what you was just saying about the private schools and her. In my limited understanding is what they're saying is they want to like completely dismantle the Board of Education, the whole schooling system, to where again only the rich is going to be able to. It's like a classist system. Am I getting that right, or did
No,
it
no,
just
you
not?
you you have a you're pretty much on point. It's not only classes, but it's also the R word, and I don't mean
well, yeah, we know that the basic, the basic people, basic people syndrome. Yes, that's what I call it now. Is basic syndrome, basic people
Yeah,
syndrome,
yeah,
and that's the nicest way I could say it.
yes, and your mother taught you well.
And so no, I just I was trying because I work with a lot of younger adults, you know, people in their early 20s and the early 30s, and I was asking because, and as y'all know, quite a few years younger than a couple of y'all. I'm gonna say that a couple of y'all. I don't
I'm
know,
proud
but
to
hey,
say 5. Thank you very much.
yeah, and I'm quite a 5 years younger than you, so that's quite a leap, but I'm hoping to make it there. So I was asking because, okay, once my oldest son turned 18, I basically tugged his ear to the voters registration and made him, you know, register to vote. And the first time he voted, I actually did the same thing. Come on. I woke him up. Come on. I'm going to work, or I'm going to vote first. Let's go. You coming with me. After that, you could do what you want. That was my basic, it was me trying to get him to get into the community and get into voting and knowing what's going on with the country. Same thing what I do at my job. Everybody was like, oh, I'm not voting. What am I voting for? And then it goes back to the early 90s when people was like, your one vote, your one vote. People still don't, a lot of people don't believe that their one vote or their one voice is going to make a difference.
And
And
that's
it's
what
always,
that's what the elites want, though. They want us to think that our vote doesn't make a difference because what's worse than a hostile population is an apathetic population. If everybody doesn't care, then the people in charge can do what they want because they know the people don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
but it's bad for the people that actually fought for their rights to vote again. They did their time. They paid their reparation. You know, they paid their reparations, and now they are productive members of society. And there's
Yes.
a lot of them are still not wanting to get into, like, Dre, how you got me into politics. Me actually paying attention to politics is when we was in Watertown, and I went out with you during, it was a legislative election. And
Yeah.
I didn't understand what I was doing, but you took the time to explain what was going on. I know there's different arms of the government and everything, but when you are a hard-headed young adult and you don't want to listen to nobody, and then when somebody smack you with the truth, you sit down and you be like, oh, wow, I'm stupid. Because now,
There's a difference.
no,
You wasn't
between
stupid, you was ignorant.
yeah. But at the time, I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. Why am I so stupid that I'm not even thinking that such and such? I do have a vote, and my vote do count for something, even if it's not in a big election. It's in a smaller election, aldermen, legislators, council members, things of that nature. So now that I'm in it, people will be like, please, auntie. Yeah, because everybody calls me auntie now. I'm the aunt to the world. Auntie, we don't want to hear this. We don't want to hear this. And then they get mad at me because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to continue to talk, and you're not going to be, I have freedom of speech. And you can't.
Yes, we have freedom. We have freedom of expression.
Yes.
Speech being a part of that, but we do not have what we do not have, and this is kind of where you go into classism and tiering system, is that only certain people don't have freedom of repercussion. In my opinion, I think the president-elect doesn't want to have freedom, wants to have freedom from repercussions for what he says because, um, how can you tell when he's lying? When his lips are
His
moving?
mouth, his lips is moving, or his eyes are open.
Exactly. So, he hasn't really suffered the repercussions of him not even little lies. He just totally just whatever comes out of
Yeah,
his.
God complex.
Yeah. Is there anything that comes out of his how can I put this phallus receptacle?
Okay. Do you think it's more like they're trying to turn us how it used to be with the lords and the properties
Yes.
and things like that? They're going to turn us. They're trying to turn us
Yes.
into serfs again.
Yep,
Like,
feudal society. You got it. See, you be
oh
knowing
wow.
stuff. You know stuff.
Sometimes it comes through. Sometimes.
That's that's okay. I'm glad that you did remember that because a lot of you know the average, and this is not, I don't think there's anybody in here, but the average adult in the United States reads at about a sixth grade level. So people's understanding are about that of a sixth or seventh grader as adults, which, you know, you understand some things, but more complex things that require you more complex thinking goes over your head. And what happens when you don't understand things? You act out because you don't want to be seen as stupid, even though you may be ignorant, but you don't want to be seen as that, and it gets you upset. And that's why you got those people yelling, "Those foreigners gotta go," and they vote against their own interests because they're not they can't think critically, and they want to they want to feel better than they're supposed than others. So instead of understanding what's going on, it's easier to shout a slogan and
yeah,
just
but I
deny
thought
everything.
when our parents was coming up, it was you make it and you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and things of that. Whatever happened to that?
Well, that's a fallacy. In reality, it's a fallacy pulling yourself up by your bootstraps.
Because
Um,
everybody needs a little bit of help. So
Everybody, yeah, yes, and this was the thing.
I think
Every social program in the United States history was not meant for people, were not meant for melanated, particularly black folks. What we know as welfare, you know, aid for aid for dependent children, TANF, EBT, food stamps, all that stuff was not meant for black people to get. And
Right.
once they started getting it in the 60s, they changed it from something that helped the whole family to the man can't be in the house for you to get this. And that, you know, from then we started not getting married. We started having children out of wedlock. We started doing a lot of the things that three generations later
I
are,
call that the Claudine effect. Ever
yes.
since I seen that movie, I'm like, wow.
But it was
And
kind
I
of Claudine was made in 1972. This started back in 1964 after the Voting Right Act was passed and the Civil Rights Act of 1965. That's when and what changed was the face of government assistance went from being white, you know, and they're just temporarily down, and they need a hand to get back up to the welfare queen myth. And these people are just lazy, and they're lazy, and they expect a handout. It was insidious, but it worked because we even bought that stuff. We even bought the narrative that we want free stuff. Well, we don't want free stuff. I mean, there are people, of course, there's some people that don't, you know, treat a job like a disease and try to avoid it. However, most people want to get the American dream because you got to be asleep to see it. Everybody wants to be in the middle class. Not all of us is going to get there or could get there, but 50 years ago, it was a lot easier to get to the middle class and get your piece of the American dream as it is, but it's nearly impossible today because we have such wealth distribution, unequal wealth distribution that causes another thing. But when you talk about it, you're called a communist or socialist, which half the people that use those terms don't even know the meaning of those terms or economic systems or forms of government, because socialism is not a form of government, it's an economic system. Communism is a form of government and an economic system. Capitalism is an economic system. Even though we're capitalistic, we still have some elements of socialism in this country because we are levied, and the levy are used for good for the public services. Um, and Ms. Kim just sent to me, people are afraid of working because they want to lose benefits. Well, this is here. Here's another thing about that is that a lot of us are too too poor to be broke, but too rich to be poor. I say that again.
I get it. I get
We're
it. I
too
get
poor
it.
to
Yeah,
be, yeah.
I work in this. So they are so used to getting it because my mama used to get it. So I'm going to get it. And my child going to get it. So when I make all these calls each day saying, hey, I can help you find a job. I can help you go to school for a trade. They'll say yes, but 9 times out of 10, they don't want that. They want to continue to get their benefits because they so used to getting it. It's free. They don't have to pay for groceries. And then the ones that do receive TANF, you know, the more kids you have, the bigger the check comes.
And that's,
I was going to school. In my taxation class, and I'll never forget it. My instructor stated that the government enjoys the fact that you are a single parent and in many children because they penalize you for being married with children. If when you file your taxes, if you're a person that file taxes on your own and don't have somebody else to do it, you realize that you are penalized when you are single with no children, and you're penalized when you are married. And you get a slight break if you're married with children. But if you are single with children and multiple children, they give you so many breaks because you're single. So to me, a lot of people have these kids for, like you said, the free stuff. They actually get the free assistance. They actually get the free help.
They only get just free benefits. You can get a car too, based on the number of kids you have.
Wow.
Yeah, see, to me, exactly. So, and I don't, how many years ago, 30 years ago, I took this class. So it still stands of what this man is saying, and the government applauds you if you are a single parent.
And it's the same thing I found out with housing. When I was living in California, I was working and I was making enough to where I was able to save the first month, last month. And because I was 19, didn't have a renting history, even though I rented rooms out, they weren't having it. They was like, if you had a kid, you'll be eligible. And I'm looking at them like, I'm 19. Why would I want to have a kid? Just to have somewhere to live. Exactly. And this is in California. And this was over 25 years ago.
Exactly.
I was seeing how they do it now with the college roommates. I would have had the room with 5 other people, and all of us would have had to like bring all our credit reports together and hope we can make it, even though we just started with our credit. You know, it's weird. It's real weird. You work, just like insurance. You work, and you think you're in a certain bracket. You get to insurance. Oh, you make too much, or you don't make enough to qualify.
Exactly.
And if you look at what I posted that on the screen that I'm sharing, this is the Census Bureau. As you can see, it tells you what percentage of the population are getting benefits, and what are they, and the demographics. As you can see, TANF is 0.5% of the population, but the people that are getting the most benefits are Caucasian, and female. So white women benefit most from government assistance. That's not me making stuff up. You can see it with your own eyes.
That's true. Because it's like I say, I see it every day.
And but that's not, even though these are the stats and the facts, that's not what's portrayed when they want to take stuff away.
Right,
So,
exactly.
so it's not, and I'm not saying, if you need help, you need help. I'm not gonna ever deny people help, and y'all know me, y'all know I do that. However, we need to be honest and say you're not talking about stopping spending because you're spending too much. It's the people who are being portrayed as needing it. And so there's an element of cruelty built in towards people without resources. But if you really want to know, and hold on, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I'm gonna show y'all another thing. I'm gonna show y'all who the real welfare queens are. And
I think I have a clue, but I want to see where your data shows, because I have an idea, but it might, make me a bad person by saying it. So I'm gonna let you talk.
I understand. I'm still looking for it, but this is, people are okay with this type of government assistance, but not towards individuals. That's why Robert Reich, he's an economist, and he served under Bill Clinton as one of his department heads, said that for corporations, there's a lot of there's state welfare. For individuals, it's rugged individualism. You can make it, and that's where pulling yourself from the bootstraps nonsense comes from, because it's not what you look at, it's what people are seeing. And we're looking at billionaires and saying that they deserve their wealth and we deserve what we get, even though they control the law, they control the lawmakers, and they control a lot of the things that keep us from going ahead. If we were to really look at things, we would see that it's not our how we look at things is how it's portrayed. And I'm still looking for this, so y'all gotta give me a second. I'm an old man, or an older man.
No, you was right, old man.
But this is yeah, I'm gonna have to bring that up at another time. I thought I had it available, so I'm not gonna go through it, but I am going to bring something up so y'all can see this, that let's see, and give me a second. And if you look at what's projecting, it should be
Headline itself is horrible.
yeah, it's the Center for Public Integrity. It's a nonprofit that tracks tax policies over the years. And as you can see, them tax cuts wasn't meant for us. Those tax cuts wasn't meant for us overall. And if they make them permanent, most people, 80% of people will be paying more taxes. taxes will be going down for those that are very, very high, making over $450,000 a year. Now, I know a couple of people who make that, but I don't make that. This is another article um, talking about the impact of 47, 45, and 47 presidency on the well-being of Black folks. And let me stop sharing for a second, and I'll show y'all one more because we are coming to the end of the show. And I'm not sorry that I carried this and I did most of the talking, but I appreciate everybody coming on and giving their opinions, and we're able to have a good discussion because this stuff needs to be talked about. We need to keep fighting, because if we do not, we're gonna wind up getting got. And that's one thing we don't really want to do, but it can happen though. And I don't want y'all getting got. Am I making sense?
Oh, yes.
I understand.
So those were the things that, I wanted to cover. And we talked about economics, we talked about whole different things. But in reality, it all connects, because the less information that we get, the more we want to be ruled instead of governed. The less information that we consume, less accurate information we consume, the more likely we're gonna let people do what they want to do, because we don't have the capacity to stop it. And those are those things that we talk about, but we don't really want to understand, because it's a little bigger than what we expected. Before we go, I'm going to show one more video as soon as I find it, and we'll close out on that. And then we'll be able to close this. Another wonderful and actually informative and participatory. Looking for my
I
video.
made it here 2 weeks in a row. Yay me.
Yay, you. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. As soon as I find it, I will bring it up, and we can close that out, and enjoy the rest of our week. Come on Thursday to um, Worldwide Vibes, Upscale Vibes Worldwide with Dr. Fabulous, myself, a few others. Also on Friday
What is
night,
it called?
scorebiggerdating.com. What's up, Pearl?
What did you say about the Thursday?
Up,
What was the name of it?
upscale Vibes Worldwide. They changed from Upscale Love.
Oh, Upscale Vibes Worldwide. Okay.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
And scorebiggerdating.com on
Yeah.
Fridays at 8:30.
Yes. If you have time, and watch my man, The Diary of a Mad Hatter. He is one of my dudes. I've been mentoring in the game as we try to get Google's money.
The hardest red they could. Look at this map. There's very few Democrat areas in this entire state. It's Social Security, disability, Medicare, and a lot of these
Fair
people are
use.
unhealthy. A lot of them are overweight or have cancer or diabetes.
We could barely hear
There's
it.
only one urgent care.
I know. I
One
don't know why the
dentist
sound
in
is so
county.
low.
So let's have to chip in and get folks care. We have to talk about the drugs. It's terrible here. Worse than you can imagine. Meth, heroin, pain pills, fentanyl, booze. Look at this. It's an old apartment complex in town that had been condemned, but people actually live here. It's missing parts of walls and windows, and keep in mind it's below freezing this time of year. Locals say the cops are always running druggies out of here. People who were squatting and making drugs somewhere inside this building. I've not ever seen anything quite like this before, and I've seen a lot of stuff. But all over town there's houses where somebody's battling drug abuse or has just once again attempted to break their addiction. You could say southeastern Kentucky is a black hole that revolves around drugs and church. I talked to a business owner in town, a guy named Mark Sewell. He runs the Dairy Bar. It's a funky throwback diner that's been here since 1929. Mark's lived in this county his entire life. He loves it here, but had to admit this county's in rough shape.
I've lived in McCray County all my life, and it's undergone a lot of change. A lot of it has not been good economically. A lot of the change started to happen in the late 80s, I guess it was, when the coal mine closed. They were the largest.
But they talk about the hood.
School system. The school system is now the largest employer that's in the county. But the coal mine was the largest employer, and of course they paid the most money, and they were getting, I think, $100 a ton for the coal at the time, and bottom fell out of the coal market. So Georgia Power bought that out, and they shut it down. Guys went into work like for third shift and came out the next morning, and they told them, they were done. So it was really quick, and it impacted the county, and we still feel the impact of it. I'd love to say that jobs would solve all of our problems, but the bottom line.
And that was it for this week. Before we take off, I want to thank everybody for coming on, and hopefully you enjoyed the show. Tell a friend that DFG's Corner is back again. Chocolate Pearl, what you got to say before we punch out? Chocolate Pearl?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on. Hey, I'm glad everybody's doing good. It was a great topic tonight. I thank everybody for coming on, whoever wasn't on a normal basis and coming and tuning in. We thank you so very much for joining us today. Be blessed, not stressed.
Apple?
Just I want to thank everybody. I'm going to follow up on what my sister said and be blessed and not stressed. And thank you everyone who showed up today. It was a good show, and I really appreciate all the participation. And
Beanie? Oh, sorry, Apple.
I know I'm done.
Like I said, I made it 2 weeks in a row. So yay me. This year I'm trying to stick to my resolutions and, not make them lies. So I'm glad to be here tonight. I'm getting more comfortable with speaking. So
Good.
I appreciate y'all being my test subjects. And I enjoyed this because I was able to actually participate in the conversation this week and didn't feel like I was just listening in. So thank y'all. See y'all next week. God bless.
Thank you. And I wanna thank Big Al, Miss Kim, Miss Andreen for coming on, providing such valuable insights. I would like to thank Miss Nikki or in Yahoo. In YouTube land and all others, those on Facebook land and Instagram land. I want to thank everybody for coming on and help us grow the channel, like, share, subscribe. Also, coming up, I'm going to be putting on my website, I'm going to be putting Chocolate Pearl's Real Golden Girl creation for sale. So you can help out a small Black business trying to get it up there. If you need DJ services in the Jacksonville area, the Northeast Florida area, you can call DJ Dabs while he does his thing. We also have
one of my newest ties. Everybody can see it.
Yes, I like that. I like that. You got them
Oh, I
skills.
love that one.
Say,
Necktie I'm doing. So yes, if you are interested in purchasing a necktie, it's a necklace tie, and I have them so far in multiple colors.
look
Y'all
at
welcome.
you.
$45 a piece.
That's what's up. That's definitely what's up.
I may have to purchase another one, Chocolate Pearl.
All right, come on, baby. I'll do it for you.
Yeah, all right.
And on that note, Big Al, you have anything? Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, great topics, and knowledge is power. And thank you all so much, because in the exchange of information, I've even had a change in the way I look at things just based upon the input. So I'm appreciative. I'm going to make sure the word gets out, because more people need to be a part of this so that we can exchange information. And I would love to participate in that upscale vibe worldwide. So if there's a way to put that out,
I'll send it to your box. I'll send a link to your box.
And for Miss Chocolate Pearl, I love ties. So if I can get your website information, I'd like to log on and buy some ties. That's all I have.
Appreciate that, Big Al. Appreciate that. And to all the people out there in the world, pay attention, keep smiling, smile more, cry less, and keep your head up. See y'all next week.
Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, never make love by the garden gate, though love is blind, the neighbor's ain't.